God given three blessings to Abraham: a great name, a great nation, and blessings to everyone. The promise a great nation can be accomplished only by generations. Today, we are seeing the covenant with Moses. Welcome to the new series of Bible study based on the book Bible Basics for Catholics by Dr. John Bergsma. Abraham's grandson Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel, had 12 sons, and all of them ended up in Egypt due to famine. And we know the story and the crazy things, especially about Joseph, which happened. But the sad part is that they became slaves to Egyptians. But according to the promise of God to Abraham, it is not right, because God told Abraham that I will make you a great nation. But here Israelites ended up as slaves to Egyptians. And then God set up a plan. All started by the birth of a man called Moses. And in the Bible itself, it is mentioned he is special. But unfortunately, Moses' mother forced to hide him because the Pharaoh decided to kill all the baby boys of Hebrews. She put him in a basket and floated in the river Nile. We may feel curious or doubted, but the mother of Moses was quite confident. Do you know the reason? Because at that time, river Nile was considered as a god among the Egyptians. And if someone is getting a child from river Nile, they may think, I got a baby from the god. Sounds great, right? Let us go through the basic threads of the story without losing the focus that we are learning the history of salvation. The boy was adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, and Moses' biological mother is coming to nurse the baby. That means they are reunited again. Maybe the God think that Moses will grow up in power under Pharaoh and will release the Israelites from the slavery. But our Moses messed up everything. When he saw a Hebrew is being beaten up by an Egyptian, he killed that Egyptian, and he was forced to flee from the Pharaoh's place to a distant place and lived as a shepherd. Maybe we can consider something like White House to streets in few weeks. In Exodus chapter 3, we can see that God is coming to see the Moses in the form of a burning bush. And he asked to Moses that go to Pharaoh and tell him to free up all the Israelites. Moses asked, if they ask me what is his name or who sent me, what shall I say? And God responds, I am who I am. Say, I am who sent to me. By saying this, God affirmed that he is the living God, and all other gods Egyptians were worshipping is fake gods. We can see in Catholic Bible translations, capital Lord, capital letter Lord, Lord, is used in the place where God is saying his name. After revealing the name, God commissions Moses by saying, Israel is my firstborn son. And I say to you, let my son go that he may serve me. This reminds us that of Adam, the firstborn of God. God is loving Israel as his firstborn. And God is adopting the Israelites and the whole humanity. Here in this verse, serve means worshipping the God. When Moses reached Pharaoh, Pharaoh was not happy as expected. And the answer from Pharaoh is a big no. That is the main reason for 10 plagues. This is also an important part. The 10 plagues was a contest between the God, the living God of slaves, the Israelite slaves, and the false gods of Egyptians. Let us take Hapi, the Nile god. All the water turns to blood. Then Hecate, the frog goddess of fertility, get out of hand and becomes way overly fertile. And it continues with one after the other and are made look powerless. Even Amon-Ra, the almighty sun god, is locked into darkness for 3 days. Finally, Pharaoh understood that he is not able to save his own son and allowed the Israelites to go away from him. While Israelites were moving through the banks of Red Sea, Pharaoh changed his mind again and tried to pull back. But at the right time, God intervened and helped Israelites to cross Red Sea. We all know the story behind. Once Israelites reached across the sea, their main problem was food and water. God caused the springs to sprout and given manna and helped all the Israelites. At last, Israelites reached Sinai, the very mountain where God talked to Moses years before. God have a plan in bringing the Israelites here. God wants to make a covenant with the whole Israelites in the mountain Sinai. God brings Israelites to Sinai to make a covenant with them. God gives them 10 commandments and reassuring, saying that if you will obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be to me a royal priesthood and a holy nation. As a group, Israel is the new Adam. God is adopting them to sonship and giving them a royal kingly status. The shining Israelite. Let us clothe him with a stole and crown. He is looking like Adam. Exodus 20 says, Moses goes up on the mount and God gives him 10 commandments written on the tablets of stone. As a result of being in God's presence, Moses' face began to glow. Now, what is the purpose of 10 commandments? Every family have rules, right? The first 3 rules are regarding the relationship with the Father, that is our God, and the next 7 are the relationship with the fellow men, with the siblings, with the whole humanity. In the chapters 21 to 23, we can see Israelites uses the rules from 10 commandments for a better governance. The story in chapter 24, once again, God reassures the sonship of Israel. Moses goes to the foot of Mount Sinai and builds an altar there. Then he reads the 10 commandments which God has given. Afterwards, Moses takes half of the blood of the sacrifice and sprinkles it at the people and half at the altar. We know that altar represents the presence of God. And the 2 actions, showing half of the blood to people and half at the altar, have a very good meaning. It means that they shared same blood and they are one family. And a harder meaning, if either party to break this covenant, may his blood be shed. God invites Moses and other leaders of the people up the mountain to share a meal with him. Bible says they saw God and ate and drank. Like Eden Garden, which was a place of meeting God and Adam, here we have tabernacle. God asked Moses to prepare the tabernacle, a moving Eden. But this honeymoon does not last long. Israelites abandoned God. Israelites abandoned the new religion and they went back to their old religion where they were worshipping different gods like bull, sun, etc. They started pagan worship and rebellion. In Exodus chapter 33 and 34, we see that Moses is going back up to the mountain and pleads with God to remake or re-establish the covenant with Israel. Let's say a second Sinai covenant. The picture looks like old Sinai, but the tablets are cracked. If we read Bible carefully after Exodus 32 and the book of Leviticus, all the laws are about giving sacrifices and staying more clean. There are something like penance to perform. After the confession, priest will give us penance, right? This penance will remind us of the sins that we had done. In the same way, since Israel sinned, God gives him a penance. The law of sacrifice usually involves the killing of an animal. It taught the lesson that if we sin, we die. The new law, which are penitential services, helped Israel to grow in spiritual health, and so does to us after our confession. In this way only, St. Paul said, why then a law? It was added because of transgressions. Technically speaking, it is a matter of just few weeks or few days if we walk from Sinai to the promised land. But Israelites wandered 40 years in the desert, all because of rebellion against God. There are about 11 rebellions recorded in the Bible. Even when the spies who went to check Canaan came back and said that it is very hard to conquer the Canaanites, all the Israel people started rebellion against God. Also, the second generation of Israelites, that means the people or the youths that grew up during the desert journey who were blessed by the prophet Balaam, started rebellion against God. At this juncture, we have a final remaking of the covenant through Moses, which is called Deuteronomy, which means a second law. Actually, this is third law, but both Sinai's are considered as the first law. At Sinai, God appeared to the people in thunder, cloud and lightning. But in Deuteronomy, God does not appear to the people at all. He speaks through the Moses, a long 34 chapters. Moses keeps on reminding them all the times they broke the covenant. Jesus is pointing out the laws in Deuteronomy are not so good, but were given because of the hardness of heart. After giving the laws of Deuteronomy, Moses climbs a certain mount, Pisgah, in the land of Moab, and God gives him a view of the entire promised land. And then he dies. Sadly, he never completed his mission to bring Israelites to their homeland. This covenant is little complicated because it is broken once and remade twice. But let us focus on the Sinai covenant.